Hello, howdy, hey, how are you? My name is Brilliantbro, the host of this fine show, and I would like to welcome you to the first episode of my weapon guide series, where once, maybe twice a week, I make an episode where I give you my thoughts and some tips and tricks on a specific weapon. The first episode being the Octobrush is the first weapon we are going to be having a look at. Why the Octobrush, you ask? Because this is the weapon I've currently been using the most on Splatoon 3, so this is the one I have the most data for. So yeah, I really hope the whole point of this series is one, to help you get to know weapons a bit more, and maybe I might even show you and help you discover your main weapon, which would be nice as I still haven't discovered mine. Maybe one day. But yes, enough of me rambling on. Let's head over to the test range to get some juicy details and specifics on exactly how this weapon works, what it can do, and its kit. Okay, so here we are in the test range. Here is the Octobrush, of course, we have. I'm going to show you a couple things. First thing, the actual weapon. If we stand here, we're going to use these lines. Actually, I think we'll use these lines over here to mark how far you can fling this thing. So if we stand about here, if we just kind of do this here, you can kind of see that along the lines this goes 1, 2, and about a half, nearly just missing it. About 2.5 segments. So it's got some pretty far range, but of course the little bit of thing is that since it is a brush weapon, it doesn't shoot straight that way. It shoots a bunch of splashes like this. Of course, as all brush weapons in general, it's really, really good at inking. Like, you can ink a pretty big area. It's not the most precise weapon. However, I do find the brushes can be pretty lethal up close. Now, if you stand a little bit far back and you hit them, it's not too bad, but the real damage is when you get up close. Because if you do that, boom, boom, boom. Look at that. That's pretty fast. Like, imagine if you're sneaking up of someone. Here, let me go to this wall. You sneak up of someone, boom, 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 boom. Okay, that was pretty bad accuracy. As I said, this thing isn't like... it's not a gun to where it's, like, accurate. You just kind of slash it back and forth. I guess it's more of a melee weapon, if you will. But yeah, I have, trust me when I say I have shredded people with this. And of course, because it's a brush, you can do this to it, where if you hold it, you can ink. And to my knowledge, I think you move as fast as a, if you're in Inkling mode. If you're in Squid mode. So that's pretty great if you want to get around it quickly. Now, the weird thing is, the ink brush has this thing where when you're doing this, right, if you're going through other enemy ink, you actually don't take any damage. However, you can occasionally take damage while doing this with the Octobrush. So that's not great. Definitely not great, but it's you know, it's that. Personally, I like the Octobrush a bit more than the ink brush, but that's fine. It's personal preference, I guess, and whichever one you're better at. Next thing, if we move on, look at its kit a little bit. Its weapon is the suction bomb. Now, that is a really good weapon, in my opinion. I think it's one of my personal favourite subs. Now, why it does take quite a long time to explode, it has a lot of benefits. First thing, it can stick to walls, as you can see there. It can actually stick to ceilings, so it can stick upside down. I don't think it can stick to... It literally can stick to anything. Look at that. That probably shouldn't even be stuck there, but it can stick to anything. So, personally, the suction bomb is really great. And how I use the suction bomb along with this weapon is because it takes such a long time to load, and that this is quite a close-up weapon. Like, I'm not going to be hitting that silver target over there. I'm going to be hitting these ones up close. What I do is kind of, this is what I've been doing, is that I'll chuck the bomb behind an enemy, so it kind of forces them to come closer to me, to where I can do this. Kind of like almost use the bomb to guide your enemy. Like, you can get them in the spot. If you have a steady aim and you can throw it in the right place, you can kind of use it to guide the enemy to exactly where you want them. And that's what I've been doing, and it works really, really well. Trust me. And the second thing is the zip caster, which honestly is, in my personal opinion, is one of my most favorite new specials, because it's fun, but it's also just really useful. So if you don't know what the zip caster is, you press R, and then you can press R, and you can basically become Spider-Man and stick to the walls, jump up for a certain amount of time. it's really good for getting damage on people. I didn't use it too great, and now we have it a bit better. I think, personally, I'm not the best at Zipcaster, but if you really train with this, I've seen people do some insane stuff with this. Attach to the wall, boom, boom, boom. Attach to the wall, boom, boom, boom. Attach to the ground, boom, boom, boom. Like, seriously, you can really take out some people if you do it well and do it wisely. But of course, you do got to be fast, and it does require some skill at aiming. It's typically pretty easy to aim, but it does require a little bit of like precision to aim it. Like if you're trying to aim it onto a small target, it's also worth notice you can't stick underneath things. If you do that, you'll just fall. So you can only stick to walls and floors. You can't stick to ceilings. Oh yeah, and as you can see there, once it runs out, you teleport back to the place where you originally started your special, just like the ink jet, I believe it's called. So yeah, that's there we go. Here we are for the test range. Personally, I think that was I really like this. This is what I've been using primarily. As I said, personally, one of the things that's been working really well for me, using that, guide the enemy in closer, attack the enemy. There you go. Boom, bam, it's done. And why I might not be using the Zipcaster as much as I should be, I've seen some people pull off some insane things with the Zipcaster. So I don't think it necessarily has a bad special. I definitely think it has a really, really good special. And there we go. That's the test range part of this episode done. Okie dokie. And another very, very quick thing to note is that this actually does damage. So when you stretch your arm, so if you hit near someone, it actually does quite a bit of damage, as you saw there, 95. Yeah. So if you play it right, you could literally ran into someone and then use your weapon. There was just a little side note. Okie dokie, with the test range part of this video done, that is all the specifics that you need to know. If I've missed something, please let me know down in the comments below. Just quickly, before we sign off, I want to say a few tips and tricks that I found help me use the Octobrush just a little bit better. Now, of course, one of them I did say in the test range is using the suction bomb to guide the enemy. I'm not sure how good that is, but like that works really well for me because I'm always struggling. Of course, one of the hardest things with the brushes is you have to get up close to people, and personally I find that instead of getting up close to them, get them close to you. Like, use the suction bomb and lure them towards you. I've used that quite a lot, and that's worked really, really well in my personal opinion. So there's tip one. With the Zipcaster, I'm not the best at the Zipcaster, so I can't really give any too great specific tips. I would definitely say though, use it well, use it wisely, use it maybe if you're in trouble, or if you see someone. I think the best way you probably could use it if there's a sniper or someone that's up really high and you can't really get to it that easily. Zipcast up there, splat them, get back down. Done as fast as that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. With the main brush itself, I don't really know what type of weapon you would class this as. It's definitely more of an up-close weapon, so definitely more of an aggressive weapon. In my opinion, I mean, that's how I've seen it to be, because you can't really hang, because you don't have any range, you can't really hang about. It is quite an aggressive weapon. Of course, another side thing that I do need to note is that another side thing to note is outfit abilities can change things depending on what you have. So if you have like run speed, you can run a lot faster. If you have a lot of ink saver abilities, then your ink won't go down as fast. There's a lot of abilities that you can add onto your gear. Now, I'm not great at abilities. I've done 0 to none research in them. I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it. So take it with a grain of salt that maybe depending on what abilities you have on your clothes, some things for the Octobrush could be better. So maybe if you are struggling with the ink capacity and you feel like you're just running out of ink too much, maybe you should use a ink saver, or maybe same with your weapons, subs and specials and things like that. Just keep that in mind, that I'm not the best at that, so I can't really give any specifics on what abilities I think would be great with the Octobrush. I would say with that, maybe just experiment a little bit if you can. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, just to take that with a grain of salt, that depending what abilities you could have, it could change the way you use the Octobrush. But yeah, with that, I would say that that's probably my weapon guide for today. That's what I've got to show you. I'm not sure like how professional it is. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. Just as a little side note, this is my first weapon guide. I'm gonna do my best. Please, if you have any tips on things that I could change upon, please let me know down in the comments below, as I would gladly change them if I can. I want to try and make this series my most, I guess you could say, professional series yet. Like, I really want to work on my editing skills and my audio skills and all of this and that. And also, please let me know if you've made it this far in the video. Let me know down in the comments below, what guide would you like to see, what weapon would you like to see me review next? And because I will gladly do that. I'll gladly do that. So, yeah, but with all of that said and done, I really hope you enjoyed. I'm not sure if this was the greatest weapon guide in the world, but hopefully I've taught you at least something. I feel like my whole tip with using the sub weapon to lure them is probably the best tip I have for this. But yeah, with that, really hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next weapon guide. See ya!